Most people think you need a lot of money and really good credit to buy a house. But to be real, you can buy and sell houses without any money or any credit. You can also buy a house using your credit with no down payment and subpar credit. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. You don't have to worry about the guys down at the foreclosure auction with the big bank accounts buying the house cash. If you are willing to outwork your competition, you can be more successful than them. Owner finance. That's one way you can get into a property without any cash or any credit. I've done this deal whereas I got in houses for free. I know that sounds crazy. And I've done this deal where I had to put a little bit of a down payment down. The down payment can be minimal. The down payment can be a lot. It just depends on the deal. For example, let's say this house behind me, right? Let's say this house is worth about $150,000 fixed up. Let's say the owner's asking for $80,000. What if you went to the owner and said, hey, Mr. Seller, what if I give you full price, $80,000 for this house? But you would have to be open to taking your equity in monthly installments. Is that something you're willing to do? And he's gonna say,
absolutely not.
Or he might say,
yeah.
You can say, hey, what if I just paid you over a 10-year period of time and paid you X amount a month? Could that get this deal done? Now, notice with that statement, I didn't say anything about down payment. And the seller might sometimes say, hey,
what about a down payment?
well, what if I can put down $1,000, $2,000, $500? He might say, well, I want 10%. All right, I'll put the $8,000 down. Would you be willing to take $250 a month for the course over 10 years until this is paid? He's gonna let you know, yay or nay. But let's say he goes with it because the house been sitting, he knows it needs work. He tried to sell it for $150. He had no luck. Nobody can qualify for a loan for it. So he kind of needs you, if you know what I mean. 10% down, which is $8,000, but you don't have $8,000. What if you find another investor that does have $8,000? And what if y'all partner on the deal? I've gotten into deals like this because I found the good deal and we structured exactly what we do. Let's say you flip the property. Let's say you put $30,000 into it and then you sell it for $150. Now you have the money to move on to your next deal. I've done owner finances where I got in with no down payment. I've done owner finance deal where I had to put a significant amount down. The fact of the matter is that this strategy works and you can get in with no money and definitely no credit. Worst case scenario, if they foreclose, they just take back the property. Nothing goes on your credit. Everybody walks their way. Another way you can get in with no credit or no money, subject to investing. This is how I bought my first primary residence. What I did is I found somebody that was losing their house. They were in pre-foreclosure. They did what was called the loan modification. Now, the pros and cons of a loan modification, a lot of times your payment can go down, but sometimes your payment can go up. In this case, their payment went down, but it reset to 30 years. And they were gonna walk away from this. And I said, let me save your credit and I'll take over the house. The seller owns the debt and I own the house. The house is deeded over to me. So I own the house and the seller owns the debt. And what I did was I paid this mortgage when I first got in that property, it was like $540. There was no down payment involved. Over there, when I left, the mortgage maybe was like $640. Talking about a house in Charlotte, North Carolina, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $1,050. The way you find these type of people is you have to go after pre-foreclosure. So you can go down to the auction to see exactly who's in foreclosure and then start working the lead that way. Sometimes you can get in with no money. Sometimes you have to catch up payments. So let's say they're $5,000 behind. Well, you have to catch that up. Or sometimes they might say, hey, I need some money to leave. Well, you might have to give them $7,000 or so. Now that's $12,000. What if I told you you could sell that deal to an investor for 20? The bank get their 5,000, the seller gets their 7, you get 8,000, everybody goes their way. Or you could partner with the investor and do the flip. And you know, like, hey, listen, I got this deal. If the numbers work for you, that's how you can get into the deal with no money and no credit. And I mentioned in the beginning of the video that you must be willing to put in the work. So these strategies are simple, but it's not easy. It does require work. Another program that allows you to get in with no money or little money and a lower interest rate is NACA. You can go to NACA.com. What they do, it is a program. It's not that you just go in, okay, I'm qualified, go look for a house. It doesn't work like that. There is a time period. Now, if you go in there, it can be as low as 3 months. But if you go in there and your stuff is not in order, man, it can take like 9 months, sometimes 10 months. For example, let's say right now interest rates are at 7%. Well, NACA could probably get you a 4 or 5% interest rate and get you in a house with no down payment. Now, what you would do in this instance, you will leverage that to go get a multifamily property. 1 to 4 units is considered residential. Let's say you find a property for $300,000, right? Let's say the mortgage, it's a duplex, and let's say the mortgage is taxes and insurance, everything is $2,500. Next door is paying you $1,500. So all you have to do is come up with $1,000. And $1,000 mortgage in your city is probably unheard of. You'll be able to save your excess money that you have. You got $3,000 coming in, your mortgage is $2,500. You're cash flowing about $500 a month, and they are paying down your equity. Eventually, if you're in a major city, the price will probably go up. So this is a good way to get into a property. Ideally, you want to get into a duplex or up to a 4 unit without paying anything, but that doesn't happen all the time. Or you want to pay a few $100 out of pocket a month. This is going to take work to find those deals that actually work for you. But the NACA program can actually get you in a deal with no money, but they will repair your credit, or will teach you how to repair your credit to make sure you're responsible enough to handle a house. Last but not least, right? I want you to Google whatever city you live in, down payment assistance. Let's say you live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Google Charlotte housing down payment assistance. All the programs will come up. Everybody's down payment assistance is going to be different. Charlotte has programs where they're willing to give you up to $80,000. But let's say you qualify for the whole $80,000. Normally, they want you to stay there for X amount of years, which is totally fine. But let's say you find a house for $300,000 and they're giving you $80,000. You're coming to closing with no money out of pocket, and immediately your house is getting paid down to $220,000. So all you have to do at that point is just live there, and your equity is going to be forced. After X amount of years, the down payment assistance is forgiven. If you're in a major city, it's growing, and prices of properties are going up. I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It said, hey, if you believe that somebody's going to give you a house for no money, then somebody will give you a house for no money. If you don't believe that somebody's not going to give you the house for free without any money, then it just won't happen. I read that book probably about in 2009, 2010, and I've gotten houses with no money out of pocket. Now check out my man Shakur, right? Click on that video. He's gonna show you exactly how he got this house with no money out of pocket. I'm Nasser, AKA the real estate guru. I'm not a guru, I'm a guru because I actually do this business. Peace.